there! Today I want to talk about homeschooling and children's social development. It's probably the biggest question people have when they consider home educating is, what about children's development socially? So we're going to tackle that one today. Grab a cup of coffee and let's get into it. First thing I need to say is that my children had a pretty positive experience at school. I know not everybody does. Some children suffer from bullying, anxiety, all sorts of things. My children did not have a negative experience at school. So I'm not coming from that kind of perspective or experience. I really want to try and be balanced, objective. I may fail in that, but that's what I'm going to try and do. Please put in the comments any thoughts you may have. Feel free to disagree. I don't mind. Let's just think outside the box when it comes to children's development and the education. So I know for me, when I was considering whether it was going to work for us to take our kids out of school, certainly the question of what about their socialization was one of the biggest for me, and I know it is for many people. But I found it really helpful just to step back and look at the bigger picture. Okay, what does it take to raise a child to a successful adult? What do we actually need to become human beings, adults who are well socialized? And I've got a few things that I think that we need, and school can help with some of those, but it's no guarantee. So first up, we need a strong, loving family. I don't have time to go into all the research and the data out there, but the most important thing for our social development is belonging to a family, that sense of identity, of being loved, of knowing that there is support, that you belong somewhere. That accounts for so much of children's successful development, is simply the family. Obviously, when you home educate, your children are at home a lot more. There's certainly, I think, potential to create really good family memories, and certainly for us that was probably one of the biggest motivators anyway of taking them out of school, was to have more memory making time together, to get away together, to travel more together, to do more things together as a family. Second thing we need is friends. We all need friends, but I don't know about you, but I know that I don't need hundreds of friends. In fact, most of us, I think, have the energy for maybe 4 or 5 close friends. I mean, those friends that you can be yourself with, that you can share anything with, that when something major happens in your life, you want these friends to know. Most of us can only have, a handful of friends. We do not need hundreds of them. And when it comes to education and school, I think school provides children with the opportunity to make friendships, but not every child does make good, close friendships at school. Homeschool children equally, they need to make friends. Some already have friends, some need to make them. That can be a bit more of a challenge to make new friends, I think, if you don't already have good friends. But as long as children have a couple of close friends, that meets a massive social need, and they do not need to see these friends every single day. Obviously at school they see them every day, but in the real world of life, I don't see my friends every day. Neither do you probably. But we do need to see our friends on a regularish basis. So as long as children have good friends and they can see them regularly, they don't have to see them every day, I think then that, that goes a long way. Third thing we need, in my opinion, to be well socialized as adults is a sense of belonging to a community that's bigger than just us, a bigger sense of community. And a couple of hundred years ago, people's community was rooted in where they lived. They worked, they went to church, most of them, they went to school, all their clubs were rooted in where they lived geographically. That's not the case today. People travel for all sorts of things, for school, for work, and we don't have the same kind of local communities the way they did way back. But we still need a sense of community, and that can come in all sorts of different forms. School can provide an excellent community for some children. Some children love that sense of, I'm part of the school and I wear the uniform and I represent the school at maybe sporting events and things. And that is a legitimate community for a lot of families. But it's not the only community. You know, that sports teams of any kind, things like church communities, there's all sorts of different communities that people can be part of. For us, our church community is really important for us. Not only does it have a lot of friends, but we've got a full age range from kind of children right up to people in their 80s, a variety of nationalities in there as well, and people from wide social backgrounds. So, you know, for us, it's a really diverse community that we're a part of. But for other people, that, you know, a football team can be a community. It's just about finding one and feeling part of it and contributing to it. Fourth thing that I think we as human beings need to develop socially is an opportunity to work as part of a team. Now, I don't think you have to do things in a team all the time, but we need moments when we're part of a team and we get to play that role, because especially for children or human beings really who are leaders, that side of them can really only come out when there's a team of people. Equally, all sorts of people want to feel part of making something happen, but they don't feel like they're the leader, but they want to contribute to it. So we need moments, I think, where you can be part of a team to help make something happen. That could be a sports team, it could be a project-based team, it could be a voluntary thing in the community. But I think we do need those moments, and I think school can provide them on a plate for children, especially as they get older. Right, here's a team, be part of it. And if you're home educating, you may have to work a little bit harder to make that happen, to find teams or just short-term things that your children can be part of. But you absolutely can. They can still be part of sports teams or all sorts of things where they can play their role in that bigger team of people. Another thing that I think we need to develop healthy social skills is to know our manners that are appropriate for the culture that we live in. So we need to know how to just get on with people, don't we? How to get on with strangers. If you find yourself in the queue in the supermarket, or you're on the phone to customer services, maybe you want to buy something and you've got to negotiate. We all need to know the rules of engagement as far as appropriate social etiquette. What are the things that really help when it comes to getting along with people, strangers, random people, even just for a moment. So those manners and those social skills are absolutely essential. In fact, some people, and I probably would agree with them, believe that those social skills will play a much bigger role in the long term of someone's life than their academic achievement. You could score top marks on every single test, but if you can't get along with people, you won't get very far. Again, school can help teach these manners, social etiquette, all sorts of things, but by no means is it the only way. In some ways, I think children spending all their time with people who are just as immature or clueless as them isn't necessarily the best way to learn those. It's generally a good idea to spend time with people who are a little bit further above, who you can copy and go, oh, that's how I behave. But to be honest, it all depends really on the school, the family and the child. If you're intentional about helping your children learn those social skills and debriefing with them afterwards, you know, maybe they were some random person just came up and started talking to them and they didn't really know what to say, you can chat with them afterwards and debrief. If you're intentional about helping your children develop in those social skills, then that again I think counts for a huge amount. The final thing that I'm going to mention that I think we need to develop strong kind of social skills is resilience when things are difficult, learning how to deal with conflict, how to push ourselves out of our comfort zone. Some of us have an innate desire to kind of pull back from challenging situations, and if we're given the choice, we won't put ourselves out there. Others are more willing to push through. Sometimes I think school can force children to maybe push through certain blockages that they may have, break through certain comfort zones. They're kind of required to do certain things. When you've got your children with you at home and they don't want to do something in a social sense that they find difficult, they will fight back at you more than they probably would have fought a teacher at school. But again, that doesn't mean that they can't develop that kind of mental resilience. Sometimes I think that they have more opportunity to develop that, because when you home educate, you see a wider variety of people. You're not seeing the same group of people every day as you would be if you're at school. We tend to go out more and are therefore just exposed to a wider variety of people. My children have to meet new people on a regular basis. When they were at school, once they got over that first initial, who's everybody in the class, okay, I know who they are, they didn't actually have to meet many new people. Whereas now they are constantly having to meet new people, and some of them find that easy and others find that more difficult. So again, I think that resilience of pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, that can happen anywhere if you are deliberate about it, if you're intentional about it, and if you encourage your children in it. So those are just the top things that I believe we really need to develop as we grow from childhood into adulthood, in order to really just have the most successful life that we can. And when you sit back and look at the bigger picture, I think it's pretty obvious that both school and home educating provide the potential for strong family time, friendships, community, teamwork, manners, that sense of resilience. There's the potential there, but there's no guarantee either way. Some children in a school setting simply will not thrive socially. Some children, they just are not going to, and if they get bullied or they experience real negativity from a teacher, that can shape everything. And so whilst one child may absolutely flourish in a school, the child sitting next to them may not. Also, in a homeschooling setting, some children will really thrive socially in that way when they don't have the pressure off, when they've got more freedom, they'll just feel more themselves, and so they may be more confident. Other children who potentially are more shy, anxious, reserved, if their parents don't intentionally help them make friends and connect, then they may struggle to do that. So again, there's no guarantee either way. And I think as parents, what we need to do, whether our children are in school or whether we homeschool them, like I do at this point in time, is to be consciously vigilant about just assessing how they're doing, you know, how are their friendships, are they getting to spend good time with their friends, how are their manners doing. Sometimes I just think I've been teaching you these manners for a decade, will it ever go in? But I'm trusting that it will, I'm hoping that it will. And if not, maybe one day it'll all come back to them. So school can be absolutely great socially, but it can also be really terrible socially. Home educating can be great socially, but it can also be negative for some children if they don't get to make friends, or they end up at home all the time with just their mum and dad and their world is small. That is a risk, and it would be unrealistic to say otherwise. So as long as we are helping our children to make friends, to be part of community, there is no reason why they can't flourish socially. And we mustn't underestimate, we lead by example. If you as the parent have a part of a community, your children will probably follow you into that community as well. If they see you being confident with strangers, knowing how to hold yourself in a variety of social circumstances, then your children will see that and they will grow into that as well. It's all about what's best for each individual child and each individual family. Also, children change, you know. There may be some moments in time where school is the best thing for that child socially, but they may change. There may be moments where actually home education is the best thing for them socially. We mustn't be too attached to one or the other when it comes to this, and just recognizing that there's no perfect path to social development. Those are just my thoughts, but what do you think? What is something that I missed that I haven't thought of? So please share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think. If you want to subscribe, hit the like button. Let me know what you think. I can't have possibly covered everything, but hopefully I've given you food for thought and confidence So have a great week, everyone, and we'll see you soon.